Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Nemer of Wrestleview.com, and welcome to the SmackDown Post Show number 25. Big episode, big show, big SmackDown. And look, this week's show significantly better than last week's. Much better than last week's show. Last week just felt a little bit dull, almost not SmackDown like, if that even makes sense. Tonight, though, they were on beat. They were back on track, and they played things a little bit differently. Tonight, the focus of the show was actually more in the women's division. A couple of promos, couple of segments involving the women. Breath of fresh air. Obviously, a lot of the times it tends to be Roman Reigns or let's say someone like Goldberg last week or Brock Lesnar. It's always been the heavyweight, the Universal title that kicks off the show. But not tonight, not tonight. And talking about kicking off the show, I want to kick off the show by welcoming everybody into the chat, everybody to the show. Hello, everybody. I see some people here. For example, Gil's fan. There you go. How are you, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Andrew Elder. There's another one. Andrew acknowledges me. I acknowledge everybody here. So thank you, everybody, for joining. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and let's get to it. Let's get to it. Andrew was not there last week. No power. He's there this week. Thank you for joining us, and thank you everybody for joining us. And let's just get to it. SmackDown this week was from the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana, and right away, Sonya Deville. Sonya kicks off the show, and her arms kind of in a sling, and she's talking about how it was an unprovoked attack by Ronda Rousey last week, and this is why she's injured. And people like Ronda and people like Naomi think that they can, their actions can go unpunished with no consequences, but that's not the case. And Sonya talks about how she petitioned to upper management to get Ronda Rousey fined $100,000 and suspended indefinitely. So Sonya's out there and she's talking, and then out comes Adam Pearce. And he says, "Oh, I know you're in the ring, and you haven't been able to check your emails, but I did receive an email from none other than the chairman himself, Vince McMahon." Now, Vince was not on the show tonight. Raw tends to be more his thing with Austin Theory. He wasn't on SmackDown, but apparently there was an email from Vince McMahon, and this is what it said. So let me just share this on here. There you go. And it said, here we go. It said, "Sonya, it has come to my attention that you have been taking matters into your own hands and abusing your power. If there is one thing I cannot stand, it's a WWE official who abuses their power. So now I will exercise some of mine. Your petition to fine and suspend Ronda Rousey is declined. As for your inappropriate treatment of Naomi, you must face the consequences of your actions. You are not to lay a hand on Naomi tonight, especially as it pertains to her championship match versus Charlotte Flair. If you disobey me, your job will be in serious jeopardy." So that was the email that Vince McMahon sent to both Sonya and Adam Pearce. And just as Adam finished reading it, out comes Naomi. Naomi gets in Sonya's face and says, "Look, Vince or Mr. McMahon said you cannot lay a hand on me, but he never said I cannot lay a hand on you." And then she just slaps her right in the face, knocking her down. So that was the opening segment of SmackDown. Very much a women's division focused, and not even the title picture. This had everything to do with Naomi and Sonya, obviously to a certain degree, Ronda as well. But the focus, the opening segment, Naomi and Sonya, and it put Naomi in that spotlight of, oh, all right, maybe things are turning around for her. Maybe things are turning around for the better for her. She's going to be the main event, so this is a good way of hyping her up. And let's see what everybody thinks of that in the chat. So let's get to it. Let's see. Andrew, yes, Sonya's definitely been selling that injury. Andrew, I laughed when Vince said he didn't like people who abuse their power. Yeah, I mean, so many different instances. The authority, Vince McMahon himself, the character Vince McMahon. I mean, come on, him and Austin, right? That was authority versus versus the ultimate rebel. Uh, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But it was a little, yeah, it was a little funny in that sense. Gil's fan. So Sonya tortures Naomi for months, but Naomi cannot touch her because she's in her jacket. Ronda has 1 second with Sonya and breaks her arm. That is absolutely awful booking. It's WWE booking. It's wrestling booking. For every couple of things that WWE get right, and they have been getting a lot right recently, be it on Raw or be it on SmackDown, they've been getting a lot right. But every now and then they'll just throw something out there that makes you wonder, that makes you think, how, right? Naomi just constantly gets abused every single week for several months, can't do anything, yet Ronda Rousey could. But I guess that's wrestling booking. I suppose that is wrestling booking. Daniel, I hope not, because that was just a bad character, especially if we're talking about the one from a couple of years ago, 2015, 2016. That was no. That was a big, big no-no. And Andrew, I would love to see this. At one point, I thought they would do it at the Elimination Chamber. Apparently not. They haven't mentioned anything about that. So them at WrestleMania, although if we're being honest, it's probably going to be on the pre-show, on the WrestleMania kickoff show. But this deserves to be at WrestleMania, in my opinion, just because of how long this feud has been going on. I think it deserves a proper match on a proper event or at a proper event. And there's nothing bigger in professional wrestling than WrestleMania. No matter what anybody tells you, nothing bigger. Nothing bigger. Gil's fan, well, Stephanie did not put anyone over apart from Ronda, so they are similar in that sense. And Andrew, just there you go, buddy. Wrestling booking logic goes out the window. And Daniel, I just can't take Deville seriously as an authority figure. I don't know what they're doing, if they're ever going to transition into her being back into the ring. She had a match a couple of weeks ago versus Naomi on SmackDown. She was a part of the Royal Rumble. Obviously, there's another match that's going to happen versus Naomi, but after that, are they actually going to do something with her or not? Does she even want to get back into the ring full time? Who knows? Only time will tell. And yeah, Gil's fan, that's it. You're thinking too logically. You're thinking way too logically here. All right, let's get back to the show here. So after that, so my tweets for this, a good start to the show, and for once, someone with power is actually made to look bad. I still think we get Naomi. I still think we get another Naomi and Sonya match. And then we cut backstage. Kayla is with Los Lotarios, and they talk about how last week they almost defeated Kofi and Big E, but tonight there will not be an almost. And Garza says they are lethal lovers, and they called them that. They called Los Lotarios the lethal lovers on more than one occasion during their entrance and throughout the match as well. And there was also Los Lotarios kiss cam, which for whatever reason happened. But hey, I'm slowly getting behind this tag team. I'll be very, very honest. When they first threw them together, I thought they were just throwing them together because hey, it's two Latinos and they got nothing to do with them, so they just throw them together. But I don't know. Past couple of weeks, they could be onto something with them, with Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. So who knows what they do with that? But the one thing I want to talk about, and by the way, Los Lotarios get the victory in this match, and this was a repeat of last week's match. And last week's match was, in my opinion, the match of the night, and the best part of the show last week was that tag team match. Just a very, very good match. And this was the first match of the night tonight. It did not disappoint. A great way to start the show in terms of the opening match. We're probably going to get another one down the line, either at Elimination Chamber or shortly after. And like I said, I'm slowly beginning to like Los Lotarios. But the one thing I want to talk about in this match is Big E. Wow. On top of the world just a couple of weeks ago. WWE champion on Raw. Now on the opening match on SmackDown back with the New Day. Now there's a fall. There is a fall. And unfortunately for Big E, I think this is where they're just going to keep him. Unfortunately. I'm a big E fan. I remember when we started doing this show last year, we were discussing, oh, Big E, what are they gonna do? They're gonna give him the Intercontinental title, and then maybe eventually down the line the world title, and they did all of that, and then they brought back Brock Lesnar, and poop, that was it. That was pretty much it. So let's see what everybody here thinks in the chat. Regarding Los Lotarios, Andrew says they need a female manager or valet. Yes, and if they want to keep in tune with Latinos or Latina, maybe Selena Vega. Maybe Selena Vega. I could see those three really forming a great partnership, a great trio. And Andrew, absolutely, we are getting that rubber match. It's just a matter of when. Gilsman, so apparently Vince doesn't want Big E and Kofi to be called the New Day. I assume he wants the name for when they're a trio again. This is, and I believe you. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying this is like the most illogical way of thinking. Just because what made them popular in the WWE, and nothing against any of these guys, any of these three men, but what made them popular was them being the New Day, was them being part of the New Day. Then Kofi won the title, Big E won the title, Woods won the King of the Ring. So everybody kind of, in a way, Big E went his own way. They kind of kept the New Day together with Kofi and Woods. I don't see what's wrong, especially if they're just going to do this. If they're sticking Big E back with the New Day, you may as well call him the New Day from now and just act as if Big E's title run never happened, because even though they mention it from, every now and then, hey, Big E, former champion. Yeah, but what's he doing now? And it's the mighty has fallen with Big E. Let's put it that way. Daniel, I couldn't agree more. It's just a meme, unfortunately. And I like Big E. I very, very much like Big E. Andrew, Big E's stock dropped to be relegated back to the tag team division with Kofi. Also, whose stock dropped after his title run, interestingly, by Brock Lesnar. Hey, Brock Lesnar, the title run killer, I suppose, defeated Kofi in, what was it, 9 seconds or 7 seconds or something like that, 12 seconds, and then Big E. But it's Lesnar, and I get it, but they haven't done anything with Kofi since, and it doesn't look like they're going to be doing anything with Big E anytime soon. Daniel, if anyone needs to go to AEW, it's Big E. Now, if you want to talk about AEW, I don't know. I'm afraid if we start talking about AEW, we're going to go down a long conversation that will probably take 2-3 hours easily. I'll say this: Big E could be huge in AEW, and I know I'm opening up a can of worms. Big E could be huge in AEW, but that doesn't mean AEW will know how to use him or use him properly. They might. They absolutely might. But considering the amount of big names they have already and the ones they're trying to establish, he could get lost in there. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's continue. After that, so this was a good match. Honestly, it was a very, very good match. Not the match of the night. The match of the night came at the very end, and what a match that was. As for this one, another tag team match between the New Day and Los Lotarios, and there will be a third, one win each, probably Elimination Chamber. That's my guess, but still another good match between them. After that, we had Michael Cole, who was backstage with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, and Cole just hypes up Goldberg, former WCW World Champion, 173 win streak, undefeated in 173 matches, and this and that. And Roman does what Roman does. And while this was to a certain degree a typical Roman Reigns promo, it was different. It was different. It was backstage, sitting down on a chair. It wasn't him in the ring talking on the mic. It was an interview. Essentially, Roman says, look, Lesnar is old news. Goldberg is old news. He says, if I was WCW champion, WCW would still be winning and they would still be in business. So that was a nice little counter argument by Roman Reigns. He says 173 wins and all that stuff. Essentially, who cares? Michael Cole mentions about how Goldberg defeated Brock Lesnar a couple of years ago at Survivor Series in 86 seconds, and then they just kind of laugh, and Roman says, yeah, but who cares about him? Roman goes on his little speech about how he's the greatest of all time and the greatest Universal Champion of all time, and this and that. And Cole mentions, hey, this was a match we were supposed to get 2 years ago at WrestleMania. Is there any extra added pressure on you? And Roman tells him no. If there is any added pressure, well, that extra pressure is on Goldberg. It's not on him. He says all of that pressure is on Goldberg. And 2 years ago, Goldberg may have stood a chance, but not anymore, right? Roman's the tribal chief. He's this, he's that. He's untouchable. He's the greatest of all time. And he says he's going to smash Goldberg. And Roman just, he's looking at the camera, or he's looking at Cole, and he just snaps his fingers, and the camera zooms in on Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns says, look, he's like, Heyman tells him this is not a prediction, this is a spoiler. The camera cuts to Roman, and Roman tells him, I'm going to Goldberg. And this was a relatively short segment. It didn't have to drag on, and I'm kind of glad they did it backstage. We did not need to sit through an 8-minute or 10-minute Roman Reigns entrance to have this happen. This was well made. It was short. It was to the point. Nothing bad to say about this. I enjoyed it. It was good. And let's look at what everybody thinks in the chat. Andrew, WCW would still be in business if Roman was there, and Goldberg is definitely old news. Look, if we're talking a couple of years ago when they brought Goldberg back, okay, it's Goldberg. They brought him back for a match. It gets people excited and this and that. I understood why they brought him back. But at this point, it's just becoming too much. And at this point, it's clearly, obviously, it's in his contract. It's, 2 or 3 matches a year. But it's always around Saudi Arabia time. And I don't know if that's a WWE booking or a demand by Saudi Arabia. But he just always seems to come back around Saudi Arabia time. So chances are, after Saudi Arabia, Goldberg's going to disappear for a couple of more months. Gills fan, when Heyman is doing an interview and Kayla isn't there, I'm disappointed. They have great chemistry, very, very great chemistry. And you know that Kayla is, she's enjoying it, and Heyman is as well. And there's some, they exchange social media posts as well on their Instagram. So it's, I would love to have seen Kayla there, but Kayla, Roman Reigns, probably not as good as Cole and Roman Reigns, but hey, maybe next time. Andrew, what's Goldberg? I guess I'm gonna Goldberg. It just means I'm gonna destroy him. I'm gonna destroy Goldberg. I'm going to pull a Goldberg. And Gills fan, Roman doing 2 moves and winning. Andrew, regarding Goldberg, I guess he's the only old guy who can still go. Yeah, in WWE, absolutely. I don't think there's anybody else in terms of the male roster. I'm a huge Undertaker fan. Love the Undertaker. Obviously, injuries got to him, and he's up there in age and everything, so he can't still go like he used to. Austin retired years ago. He shows up probably once every couple of years. The Rock stepped aside. Who knows if he's going to be back? Although if he does, probably going to be WrestleMania next year. So yeah, Goldberg's the only guy that can, or one of the veterans, let's say, that can still go. But this was a good segment. This was a very, very good segment. So taking a look at Twitter, good promo by Roman Reigns. Heyman is great, and while they did well in trying to talk about Goldberg, I don't think many are too excited about this match. And talking about not being excited for a match, Aaliyah versus Natalya, for I believe the 4th time, at least the 3rd time, but I want to say 4th. Aaliyah versus Natalya. I don't know for how much longer we're gonna have to sit through these matches. I thought it was just maybe a deal they had with the Guinness Book of World Records involving Natalya, because she holds a couple of them, and then they had Aaliyah win in 3.17 seconds or whatever it was. That's cool, but this has been going on for a while now, and it just never seems to end. Andrew, yeah, it was just yuck. It was just yuck, and something that didn't make any sense whatsoever is, and I get it, but to a certain degree, they maybe should have clarified it a little bit. But this was a match that was announced as it can only be won by pinfall or submission. So Natalya puts the sharpshooter on Aaliyah. Aaliyah reaches the ropes. in my head, I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be a rope break. Not saying Natalya is going to get disqualified, but rope break or they're going to do something. Nope. She taps out. That's the end of the match. And if you go back and you watch it, even the fans didn't look too interested in this match. But even when that happened, a lot of them looked confused. And it wasn't until Cole mentioned, "Oh yeah, this match could only have been won by pinfall or submission." And it's just why? Why? You may as well just make it a no disqualification match. At least that might make it a bit more intriguing. But that's not what they did. And Gil's fan, unfortunately, this will probably happen. This will probably happen. A no count out match or a match where you must stay inside the ring or something. I don't know. So this was the dungeon match. This was the dungeon match. And yeah. Anyways. Andrew, if they're going to do that superhero stuff with Xia Li, then they should put Nikki. Oh God, they hopefully not. Hopefully not. And Gil's fan, at least Xia didn't do her full entrance while saving Aaliyah this time. Yeah, that was that. Those yes. At least it was like her music hit. She went down to the ring, and it wasn't like a whole pose. And this, I don't know, if there was a smoke or yeah, no. Yes, it was a submission only match. Oh, my bad, my mistake. Yeah, just they're trying so much, but it's just not working. It's not working, not with Natalya. And I get it. Natalya is the veteran, and they're trying to use her to put others over. And I totally get it. But people are, and I hate to say it, nothing against Natalya, but people are not interested in Natalya. They're really not. This is not a knock on her. Really knock. She's great in the ring. She really is. Not the best on promos, but she's good in the ring. I'm sure she's helping out the the younger ones coming up, the younger superstars. But people just don't seem to care. People just don't seem to care. Andrew, at least they said before the match, then the announcers mentioned pinfalls. Yeah, well, we'll see what they do next week when it's Natalya versus Aaliyah again, and then Xia Li interferes. Because they're just going to do a whole other rematch next week or something. So, yeah. Yes, well, it is her husband, right? It is her husband. That's an agent, I think, right? Isn't Tyson Kidd an agent? But oh, come on, Andrew. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. Oh boy, we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But what I will say is this: if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't already, hit the like button. Come on, guys, hit the like button. We're here on Fridays. We're here on Mondays. Pay-per-views or premium live events, as they're called. Premium live events. We were here after the Royal Rumble, and we got Elimination Chamber coming up. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, let's get back to the show. SmackDown. So that was Natalya, and then out came Xia Li, and yeah, that happened. So my thoughts: Natalya against Xia Li does not sound too appealing. And while Aaliyah got a small push, she may benefit from being in a team, someone that can cut a promo. And I mean that because if they're actually interested in trying to do something with Aaliyah, because hey, maybe the potential in the ring is there. She's still not very good on the mic in terms of cutting a promo, so maybe putting her in a tag team with someone that can, maybe that could help her. Maybe that could help her character. Daniel, someone's got to do it. Come on, whoops, someone's got to do it, buddy. All right, let's get back. Now it was Insane with Sami Zayn, and I like Sami Zayn. I really do. I like what they're doing with Johnny Knoxville, even though I think this is just going to keep dragging on and on until WrestleMania. So we got another 2 months or so. This will be a 3-month, 3-month match in the build-up or 3-month build-up or whatever you want to call it, and it's cool. I just don't know how much interest there's going to be left in 2 months' time when this match actually happens at WrestleMania, because this is slowly, very slowly beginning to lose steam. And tonight it was involving Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. So, Sammy introduces Nakamura and Boogs to his show, and Sami Zayn says, you've been ducking me for over 6 weeks, and I want my title match next week, and I'm gonna be the new champion and this and that. And then Rick Boogs grabs the microphone that was on the table. He grabs it, and gets electrocuted. Okay, and then Sami hits Nakamura with the haluva kick. Sami leaves celebrating. Now, for whatever reason, which we're not going to get into, but Sami Zayn will not be in Saudi Arabia. He will not be at the Elimination Chamber. So this match is probably the reason why this match is taking place next week on SmackDown, a day before the Elimination Chamber, as opposed to actually having it at the Elimination Chamber. And I wonder if they actually put the title on Sami Zayn. I wonder if they put the title on Zayn and what they do with it, how long they have him keep the title, because if they plan on keeping the title on Nakamura, then they got to get Nakamura wrestling every single week until he's relevant again. And this is nothing against Nakamura. I do like him, but he hasn't wrestled in what appears to be months, Royal Rumble match aside. So they gotta build him back up. They gotta do something with him. Although personally, what I think is gonna happen is I think Johnny Knoxville just somehow interferes and costs Sami Zayn the Intercontinental title match next week. That's what I think is gonna happen. But I would not be totally opposed to seeing a new champion either. So let's take a look at the chat. Let's see what everybody thinks. There you go. Yep, Knoxville and Zayn at WrestleMania. Gills fan, Zayn might be my favorite on the roster at this point. He's building on the mic. He really is. He really is. And him as Intercontinental Champion could be good. They just got to do something with this whole conspiracy theory, because sometimes they talk about it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they hint about it, sometimes they don't. It's been going on. It appears to be for years. I know it's not, but it appears to be going on for years, and the whole documentary and the trailer. We haven't gotten anything about it, and it doesn't look like there will be anything coming out regarding that. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do with Sami Zayn, but I like Sami Zayn. I do. And yes, last week there was a problem with Rick Boog's guitar where it wasn't working. It wasn't working. Yes, next week, Daniel, next week. Andrew, Knoxville is in for the Intercontinental title at Mania would be you with. That's what I fear. I fear they actually put the title on Johnny Knoxville, but I don't think WWE is even that bad when it comes to booking. I'm trying to give them credit, and I don't think they'll do that. Gills fan, I was sure Zayn was winning, but if he's facing Knoxville at WrestleMania, then maybe Nakamura retains. Look, we're all guessing that it's going to be Knoxville versus Zayn at WrestleMania, and it looks like it's going to be that way unless they do it on some episode of SmackDown. But I mean, at this point, it's got to be WrestleMania. This would be David Arquette as WCW champion levels bad. This is what that would be. And already WWE doesn't really take this title seriously anymore. They haven't in years. So why would it be any different than David Arquette winning the title? I don't know. It'd be bad. All right, let's continue with this. So this was that segment, and then we got Happy Corbin versus Cesaro. Corbin gets the win. Cesaro never really got going in this match. It was all about Corbin. They mentioned how Corbin's been undefeated since the summer. Obviously, Royal Rumble match aside, he's been undefeated. That's what they mentioned earlier tonight. And Cesaro. Wow. I mean, yeah. It's bad with him. It's bad. This is not on him. This is absolutely not on him. Just a tremendous athlete. Great in the ring. No, he's not the best on promos, but what are they doing with him? They have him tag team with Mansoor. They have him tag team with Ricochet. Now they have him lose to Corbin. And yeah, exactly, Gills fan. This is exactly it. Yes, this is exactly it. There's another one. We got Big E, and we got Cesaro, and we got Kofi, and he's certainly another one. Cesaro is certainly another one. I mean, he was on WrestleMania last year defeating Seth Rollins. Cesaro defeating Seth Rollins at WrestleMania last year. Less than a year later, losing to Happy Corbin. Yeah. Um, and then we get to another segment. And Andrew, I'm going to get to your comment in just a second. But it cuts backstage, and Madcap is backstage with the doctor. He tells him he's having trouble seeing, and there's a lot of dark spots. He tells him, you have to cancel my match against Drew McIntyre at the Elimination Chamber. And the doctor tells him, hey, close your eyes. And then he tells him, open your right eye. And as he closes his eyes, we have the sword. All we see is a sword just coming in, and obviously it's Drew McIntyre. He opens it, he's like, oh, I see a sword. And suddenly Madcap says, oh, I can see fine, I can see perfectly. And Drew tells him, great, because I spoke to WWE management, and their match at the Elimination Chamber is a false count anywhere match. And he grabs the sword and he literally points it at his head. He points the sword at Madcap's head and tells him, that means anything goes. And you're having Drew McIntyre say that with the match taking place at Saudi Arabia. Wow. Yeah. I don't know if that's the best idea, because we all know they're never actually going to use the sword. It's just a prop. But to mention that, and with the match taking place in Saudi Arabia, that's, oh boy. This is it, Andrew. I agree. Gil's fan, what will we get first? Drew actually uses the sword, or Sammy's documentary is released? That's a good one. That's a good. I think Drew uses the sword, just not on someone. Probably he'll cut a rope or something. He'll probably aim to hit someone. That person will duck, and he'll probably end up cutting a rope or a turnbuckle or something. But obviously, I don't think he'll use it on anyone, or at least I hope not. But then again, knowing Vince, who knows? So this one, I like what they're doing with Corbin. I really do. I don't totally hate it. I know I might get a lot of flack for that, but I don't totally hate what they're doing with Corbin. So I like what they're doing with Corbin, but they have to put a title on him. Even have him as tag team champion with Madcap or literally anything. And as for Cesaro, they don't even air his entrance anymore. That's how bad it's been with Cesaro. So yeah. As for Corbin, hey, the Intercontinental title, the tag titles, anything. Because people don't like him, people boo him. He does get a reaction. It's a boo, but it's still a reaction. People don't like him, so yeah. Daniel says, knowing Vince, Drew will come out in a turban. Oh boy, don't give Vince any ideas. Ed Hamilton, hello Ed, thank you for joining. He says they gave up on swords after Val Venus. Yes, that was Taka Michinoku, right? Kaientai, the little chop. That was over 20 years ago now, about 22, 23 years ago, which is incredible. So yes, thankfully, I think that's a good thing that they gave up on swords all those years ago. All right, let's continue. After that, we had Michael Cole, who was backstage with Goldberg, and this was it wasn't a bad segment. It really wasn't a bad segment. It was just, it felt flat. It really did. And if I'm in the arena, I don't see Roman Reigns. I'm not saying this was a bad show. This was a very good show. I enjoyed it. But if I'm in the arena, they advertise Roman Reigns, they advertise Goldberg. We don't see them. Might not be the happiest person if I bought a ticket specifically to see one of them, especially considering that it was backstage promos. So, but anyways, so Goldberg's backstage with Michael Cole, and Cole tells him, very few people have accomplished what you've accomplished. And yeah, he hypes him up. And then he tells him, but some people are talking about how this might be one comeback too many. And then Goldberg tells him, that's the problem, is a lot of people say a lot of stuff. And I used to hear them and I used to believe them, but now I don't listen to anybody. And as far as comebacks are concerned, this one is going to be the one that is going to stick, and it will be everlasting. Talk about how the match was supposed to take place at WrestleMania 2 years ago. And Goldberg says, Roman may call himself the tribal chief, but he's still the same Goldberg. Whatever that means. So Roman's evolved. He's this crazy, greatest of all time. That's what he calls himself. And Goldberg says, "Yeah, well, I'm the same Goldberg." Okay, so you're the same Goldberg from 20 years ago, 24 years ago, 25 years ago now. I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, could be. It could be, but I don't know if that's a very good thing. So, anyways, Goldberg says he's gonna, he's gonna defeat Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber, and then he's gonna go on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So there you go. It's. Let's get to the chat. Daniel writes, everything with Goldberg is bad these days. It's not the best. Andrew, I never knew about it either. This they start off and Goldberg's, they're both talking about how they're friends and they've known each other for a while. I'm like, when did this happen? What? I'm sure Cole is more friends with Heidenreich than he is with Goldberg. If you know what I'm talking about, then yeah. If you haven't, go on YouTube, type in Michael Cole Heidenreich. Just don't do it before sleeping. Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about. It was, these looked like it was definitely taped earlier. This was no way this was live. Daniel, typical, yeah, it was, especially with Goldberg these days. Ed Hamilton, that means he wins the AEW title in the fall. I wouldn't be totally surprised to see Goldberg in AEW at one point. I really wouldn't. They appear to love anything NWA or WCW related, from the design of their heavyweight title belt to the stage to some of the veterans that they have. And I'm not knocking on the veterans, don't get me wrong. Still, Sting is one of my favorites, especially when I was growing up, and he's still great, especially when you take into consideration his age. Obviously, Arn Anderson and this and that. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Goldberg there. I would not be surprised to see Goldberg there. And Gil's fan, it's like when Cena was fired when Cole was a heel years ago, and they suddenly mentioned Cena and Cole being friends. Hey, you're not supposed to remember these things, or we're not supposed to remember these things. Daniel, if Goldberg is in AEW, they'll be the ultimate WWE retirement home. Honestly, it's beginning to look that way. I would love to see him in AEW. Not because I don't like AEW. I enjoy AEW. I enjoy both of the products, both companies. I watch Dynamite every single week. Rampage a little bit less because, hey, I'm doing the show with you guys, and that's on a Friday night after SmackDown. But I watch their shows. I enjoy the product. But I would love to see Goldberg in AEW for one reason and one reason only. I would love to see what AEW fans would say to defend it. Because if Goldberg goes to AEW, there's no defending that. There's absolutely no defending that, at all. So that's the only reason why I'd love to see him in AEW, is just to see what people would say about it more than anything. But hey, full disclaimer, I like AEW. I watch it. Some good stuff, some stuff I don't enjoy, but I could say the very same thing about WWE. So I'm not trying to say one is better than the other. I'm not trying to say that at all. Everyone, you watch what you watch. If you watch WWE, good for you. You watch AEW, good for you. You could watch both. There's nothing wrong with watching both, guys and girls. There's nothing wrong with watching and liking and enjoying WWE and AEW. Nothing wrong with criticizing both of them. Unfortunately, not many people understand that. And Daniel, yeah. And I mean, Keith Lee debuted, and obviously the rumors are always going to be there regarding Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, and I could name there's a lot of stuff. I just don't want to turn this into an AEW show, but they have so many guys. You just look at them and like, well, what are you doing with them? Sean Spears was probably better off in WWE than he is in AEW. Andrade? Anyways, we're not turning this into an AEW thing. So let's get back to this show, to the Friday night show, the SmackDown show, episode number 25. Hit that like button if you haven't already. All right, and next up we got the main event, and this was surprising. This was surprising because this match, So essentially, Charlotte Flair was in the ring at around 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 25 minutes. This match got obviously didn't go 25 minutes. It ended before 10 o'clock Eastern, but this match got 20 minutes, and I was surprised. I was very, very surprised. This match got 20 minutes, and it was a good match. It was a very good match. I don't think the ending was ever in doubt. I don't think Naomi was ever gonna win this match, but it was a good match. Couple of near falls. I'll tell you what, Flair is really good at that. Flair is really good at those near falls because there was one of them, if I'm not mistaken, it was the rear view when Naomi hit her with the rear view. That 1-2, that was really almost a three. That was the referee's hand was about to hit the mat there on the three. Flair got the shoulder up. A very good match. The only thing, and it did not ruin the match, but the only thing was just the ending. The ending, it was a botch. The ending was completely botched, and you could tell Flair got hit, but got right back up, and you could literally hear her or see her tell Naomi rear view or something along those lines, like rear view. And then Naomi goes for the rear view. Flair, backs up a little bit, chops to the back of the knee, and she gets the win. So it was a very good match. That ending, go back and watch the ending if you haven't seen it. Go back and watch it. So Flair with a knee chop, and then she hits her with a natural selection. 1, 2, 3, she gets the pin. A really, really good match to end the show. And then Sonya Deville gets in the ring after the match, and she's just talking down to Naomi. Naomi gets angry. She starts beating up on Sonya. Charlotte Flair gets back in the ring. She beats up on Naomi. Sonya starts stomping on Naomi. Out comes Ronda Rousey, and Ronda's there for about a minute. Literally, Ronda's there at the end of the show. She runs out, and this was almost another botch. Because when she was getting in the ring, it just looked a little bit, I don't know, a little bit not right when she was getting in the ring. So anyways, she gets in the ring. She takes Sonya down with an armbar, and then right hands on Charlotte. Charlotte falls to the outside. Sonya with the right hand on Ronda. Ronda takes her down. She goes for the arm lock or armbar, and then Charlotte pulls her out of the ring, and that was that. That was the show. A really good match to end it, and a good ending. I'm guessing at one point it's going to be a tag team match, Ronda Rousey and Naomi against Charlotte Flair and Sonya. But the women got some segments tonight. They got some segments. So they had the opening with Sonya and Naomi. You had Natalya and Aaliyah with Xia Li coming out. You had the main event. So they had some stuff. There. They started the show. They ended the show. There was even a match in between that had nothing to do with the title. So I enjoyed it. And let's see what everybody in the chat thought about it as well. Daniel writes, we need to see Charlotte versus Ronda, not Ronda versus Becky. Charlotte's a natural heel. And it looks like that's what we're going to get at WrestleMania. And that's going to be very fun to watch. That's going to be a great, great match. Let's see. Andrew says, thought it was good. Honestly, at points, I thought Naomi was going to win. She's not, but even to pull you into thinking she might. Yeah, and that was it. Like that near fall after the rear view. Like, whoa, that was close. That was close. So it was good. She looked good out there. Also, Ronda after the match, actually acting like a face this time and not coming out that she hates everybody. Right? She ended up checking on Naomi right before it all ended. So that's why I'm thinking maybe a tag team match at one point. Girls fan, seeing Ronda suddenly doing her smiley entrance last week was funny. Daniel says Ronda's definitely turning into a face. Girls fan, Ronda thinks wrestling is real. She hates the fans because they dared to boo her. I mean, it's Ronda Rousey. And I say that in a good way. I don't say that in a bad way at all. And no, I don't think she thinks it's real. I think obviously she knows it's not, or it's scripted. I just think she's still learning. If you really think of it, she wasn't in the company for that long before before she stepped aside for a couple of years. So she's still learning, and she's learning on the job. Andrew, someone must have told Ronda, don't say stuff anymore about the fans. They pay your salary. I just think she comes from a world where she doesn't care. I really think that not so much of like wrestling is real. I just think she doesn't care. Maybe she has that UFC or that MMA background or that mentality rather when it comes to the fans, because you have to come off as being such a, such a tough character, such a tough person, which she is, which she clearly is. And I think that's what she knows, and that's why I repeat myself, but that's why I think she's learning on the job. Um, so that was that. That was the show, and let's look at what I think what I tweeted out here. I said a very good main event. Flair and Naomi did great out there with the outcome with the outcome never in doubt. Naomi against Sonya and Ronda against Flair. Those could be two great matches. And look, if given enough time, Naomi and Sonya, they could do well. They could do well. Then I wrote a good SmackDown. I can't think of one thing which I hated. The women's division getting some television time this week, which is a good thing because it wasn't always the case. And looking at what the poll, 68.4% thumbs up, 31.6% thumbs down. What did you think? What did everybody in the chat think? I gave it a thumbs up. I thought it was a good show. There wasn't really anything in particular that I disliked or I hated. We spoke about Big E and we spoke about Cesaro, about their fall from grace, but generally speaking, it wasn't a bad show. We got some good matches. Not too many promos. Aside from the Goldberg sit down and the Roman Reigns sit down. We had some stuff backstage, but it was like 20 seconds each. It wasn't anything too crazy or too long. This was more wrestling driven than promo driven. So this was a good show. I enjoyed it. What does everybody in the chat think about it? Think about SmackDown tonight. We have one more show to go. One more show before the Elimination Chamber. That's next Friday. It's gonna be a taped SmackDown, but we're gonna have an Intercontinental title match. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. And let's look at the chat. Daniel says, thumbs up. The Drew sword was downright offensive. A good main event. Definitely getting face Ronda and heel Charlotte on to Monday. Yes, Monday night, Brock Lesnar. Monday night, Bobby Lashley. But more importantly, Monday night, it's the post-Raw show with Mike and Victoria Tedesco right here on YouTube and on Facebook. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Make sure not to miss it. It's that old, we laugh and joke by saying they watch Raw. They sit through 3 hours of Raw, so you don't have to. And it's true. Even though Raw's been pretty good lately. It's been actually very good lately. But make sure to join them. Always makes for a very, very good watch. And Andrew, 2 segments were meh. The Viking Raiders interview, meh, getting beat up. So much challengers, but the show was a thumbs up, and SmackDown and post SmackDown thumbs up. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it, and I agree. It was a thumbs up, and this post show thumbs up, and it's a thumbs up because of you, because of everybody here. That's why it's a thumbs up. And regarding Raw, Daniel says, I hope we get more RK Bro and Alpha. Such great TV for laughs. That's why you got to watch Raw. That's why you got to tune in to the post Raw show right here on YouTube. Andrew asks, when are they taping SmackDown? That's a good question. I haven't checked. I really haven't checked. I just know that it's going to be taped just because everybody's going to be in Saudi Arabia at that point. The show's on Saturday, Elimination Chamber, and SmackDown being on Friday. But it is taped. I don't know yet. We'll definitely have it up on Wrestleview when it is. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. This was the SmackDown Post Show number 25. Next week, number 26. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you, everybody in the chat, from Andrew to Daniel to Gills fan to everybody else that participated. And for those watching us on YouTube as well, or on Facebook, if you guys are watching the replay, thank you. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Daniel, yes, it is absolutely another Saturday pay-per-view, or premium live events, as they call them. And it looks like most of them are going to be on Saturday, or on Saturdays, rather. So, Gillsman, thank you, buddy. You too. Have a good one, everybody. Once more, my name is Roy Nemer of Wrestleview.com. Your SmackDown host or post show host and your Wrestleview.com SmackDown recapper. Be safe, everybody. And remember, episode 26 coming up before the Elimination Chamber. Take care, everybody. Be safe.